Hi, boys and girls, and it's time for more fractions. Fractions are probably one of the most important skills that we learn in third grade, and that's why we spend so much time on them. If you look at our learning target that I've typed up here on our worksheet, it says we can compare fractions with like denominators using models. So this is the worksheet we'll be working on. I'll be doing guided practice, which means I'll be doing it and thinking out loud like a third grader. I might pause once in a while for you to give your own thoughts as well. Okay, so we're going to look at the directions. We see we have a bunch of models here. Some of them are rectangles, some of them are circles. We have cubes down here. So we're going to be using the models to help us compare fractions. I would never in third grade expect you to be able to compare a fraction without some kind of a picture or a model. Right, so we're going to look at the first one, and we're going to see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parts. 5 are shaded. Over here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parts. 3 are shaded. So there are more shaded parts here. So we would compare those by saying the first model is more shaded than the second model. 5/7 is greater than 3/7. Let's look at the next one. Now on your copy, I don't think that you can really see the shaded ones, but here on my screen, hopefully you can. So we have 8 equal parts in each circle. Here, 3 parts are shaded, or 3/8 are shaded. Here, 4 parts are shaded, or 4/8 are shaded. So which one has more shaded? The right one on the right does. So we would say 3/8 is less than 4/8. And we can tell just by looking at the amount of each shape that is shaded. When we come down here, we have 4 equal parts. 3 are shaded in this figure, and 3 are shaded in this figure. Same size parts. And so 3/4 equals 3/4. All right, let's go down to the next one. The directions here say shade in the parts of the shape to make the expression true. So I am going to clear my pictures so I can kind of scroll up my screen. So here we're doing the shading, and you can look at this first one and you can see that we are supposed to shade 2/3 of the first cube and 1/3 of the second cube. So I'm going to get my shading tool here. You can get a crayon or a pencil. And we have 3 equal parts. It wants us to shade 2 of them. So there's 1 part shaded and there is 2 parts shaded. So now notice my denominators are the same. I have thirds over here, 3 equal parts, and I have thirds over here. The only difference is my numerator. So over here I'm going to shade 1/3. And now I can look at this and I can tell that 2/3 is greater than 1/3. Now, what they want you to notice after you've looked at the models long enough is that eventually, if the denominators are the same, you should just be able to compare the numerators because that tells you the number of parts that are shaded. So for example, in this one, 2/3 is greater than 1/3. All we really had to do was compare the numerators 2 to 1. Why? Because our denominators were exactly the same, 3 and 3. We were counting thirds. Thirds is our unit. All right, let's look at the next one. I'm going to get my shading tool again. Okay, and we have 10 equal parts. They want us to shade 9/10 of this one. So I'm going to shade everything but 1 part. I want you to do the same. Pencil or crayon. Don't have to color it in real dark. And then over here, they want us to shade 10/10. So if we have 10 parts, that means shading all of them. Now, when I go to compare, I'm going to look at the shaded part. This is less shaded than this shape, so 9/10 is less than 10/10. Again, if we come down and we look at the fractions, 9/10 is less than 10/10. Why? Because the numerator 9 is smaller than the numerator over here, which is 10. Our units stay the same. They're both 10. But now all we have to really do is compare our numerators. 9 here is less than 10 here. That's what they want you to discover in this activity. I'm going to clear my pictures again, go up, and we'll work on 6, 7, and 8 now. Okay, so here we have to write our own fractions for the figures. It says write an expression to compare the 2 fractions. So first thing we do, count the number of equal parts. Go ahead and do that and see what fraction we're using in this one. Okay, very good. There's 6 equal parts, so we're using sixth. On the left here in this rectangle or this fraction strip, we have 3 6 shaded. Over here, we have 4 6 shaded. So if I look at that picture, I can say that 3 6 is less than 4 6 just by looking at the amount shaded. Now, if I want to write the fractions underneath, go ahead and do that. This would be 3 6. And on the right would be 4 6 because 4 are shaded and our unit is 6. Okay, now when I go to compare these, look at my numerators. 3 is less than 4. My denominators are the same. They're both 6. So I can say that 3 6 is less than 4 6. And really what we're doing is we're supporting that expression with our pictures. We can see by this picture that 3 6 is indeed less than 4 6. So when our denominators are the same, all we really have to do is to compare our numerators to find which fraction is bigger and which is smaller. Let's go on to number 7, count the number of equal parts. Okay, very good. We have 8 equal parts, and there are 3 parts shaded. Over here, we have 8 equal parts. 2 parts are shaded. Which one has more shaded? The one on the left. So my expression will look like this. 3/8 is greater than 2/8. And then they want us to write the expression with fractions. So on the left, I'll write 3/8 to represent the rectangle above. On this side, I'll write 2/8. And now remember what we can do. Since our denominator is the same, our units are both eighths in both fractions, we can say 3/8 is greater than 2/8 just by comparing the numerator. Let's go to number 8. Go ahead and count the number of equal parts to get your unit. Very good, they are ninths. If we look at number 8 and count the number of 8 ninths that are shaded, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ninths are shaded on the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ninths are shaded on the right. So the 5 ninths is definitely less than the 7 ninths. You can see that in your picture. The right fraction strip has more shaded. Now we're going to come down here and we're going to write them in numeric form. So it's 5 ninths compared to 7 ninths. And hopefully by this time, boys and girls, you can see our denominators again are the same. All we have to look at is our numerators. So 5 is less than 7. So 5 ninths is less than 7 ninths. And we can use less than symbol to compare those fractions. All right, I'm going to erase those drawings. And we're going to go to the last section of our worksheet. And here they want us to draw our own pictures. We want to make sure we have similar or like denominators. So we want to make sure we divide both of our models with the same number of parts. So I'm going to start this one with a rectangle. And let's see. And I'm going to try to make sure that both my rectangles are the same size, but I can't stack them because I need them side by side. So there's one, and here's another one. And I'm going to divide these both into thirds like this. Thirds seems like an awfully easy one to do. So I'm going to split this a little differently than all the rest of them have been split. I'm going to split it right through the center like this. And now we should have 6 equal parts in both. Okay. Give you a minute to do that. So we have 6th over here. We have 6th over here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shade. Whoops, I want to use my fatter tool here. I'm going to shade 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 on this side. And over here, I'm going to just shade 2, 6. So when we go to compare those, we can certainly see that the 4, 6 is greater than 2, 6 with our visual model. So we'll write the symbol there, but underneath we can also write our numeric fractions. So we would write 4, 6 in numeric form like this, and we would write 2/6 in numeric form like this. Again, because our denominators are the same, and if you notice, every single one of the problems on this page has like denominators, all we have to do is compare our numerators. So 4 is greater than 2, so that means 4/6 is greater than 2/6. Okay, let's go to our last one. Let's do circles here. So this is kind of a tricky one, but I'm going to do my best. I'm going to make my circles the same size in order to compare them. And let's try fourths. So remember, boys and girls, when you do circles, you've got to draw your lines like this. You can't make fourths like this. Hopefully you all know that by now, because those are not equal parts. So I want to erase those. That's not how we make fourths with a circle. Okay, we make fourths with a circle like this. Split it like that, and then split it across here like this. And now we've got some equal parts. We'll do the same thing over here. Okay, and let's do this. Let's shade. Let's shade just one part here. Go ahead and do that. And let's do something radical. Let's shade all of them over here. Now that's pretty obvious, isn't it? Now when I go to compare, I can easily see that 1/4 is less than 4/4. If I write it numerically, this would be 1/4. Over here we have 4/4. Why? Because there's 4 equal parts and 4 are shaded. And now in order to compare these two fractions, all I have to do is compare the numerators. 1 is less than 4, so 1/4 is less than 4/4. All right, boys and girls, you have another page of independent practice on this skill. Refer back to the YouTube video if you need help with it. And thanks so much for joining me today. Have a great day, boys and girls.